I hate highway infrastructure projects like that, DOT.
All right, guys, let's make sure your cell phones turned off. Welcome to the January IFB. I can have your guys' attention. We've got a nice, tight, packed schedule today, so we'll keep on track and keep the questions down to a minimum until the end. I can have Michael LaChance and Don Rutherford come up.
I'll talk first. All right, how's everybody doing? Good. Go through incident review real quick. This past month, we've had 2 ocean recordables. Certainly not the most desirable circumstance that we've had. One of the 2, we had one of our power systems guys that was working on an engine. Who in here works on cars? Who in here has cut their hand when a wrench pops loose all of a sudden? Well, he was not wearing his cutlass gloves, and part of the engine shroud caught his hand and sliced him open. He ended up having to have some stitches. So, not cool. And then the other one was somebody got a metal shard in their eyes. They were not wearing a face shield, but wearing pure safety glasses. And we all know what's the company policy? Face shield. If you're cutting something overhead, you wear a face shield on it so you don't. Or who in here has the new cool like foam line safety glasses? Those are available on National Safety's website. If you're working overhead, instead of having that big Darth Vader mask on, you can actually have the foam line safety glasses, and they work very, very well. And they're comfortable, too. People seem to like them. A lot of the other incidents that we've got have to do directly with the PRETECT app. We've had a large number of people who have been reporting incidents on the PRETECT app. Everything from a rock hitting a windshield. Who in here legitimately does walk around inspections on their vehicles every single time you get into it? Once a day at least. Once a day? We actually had a PRETECT report where somebody was walking around their vehicle doing their walk-around inspection and discovered that their passenger side mirror was pouring rain. And he honestly said, I didn't really want to walk around and do it, but he found out that his passenger side mirror had been pushed in. So you hop in your car and all of a sudden it's pouring rain, you can't see out the passenger side if you've got a canopy on the back of your truck. Now you have to worry about pulling off the side of the road and fixing your mirrors. So that actually saved him. We had a bunch of open holes. We had boards that had nails in them. We're getting a bunch of legitimate, really interesting PRETECT reports. As usual, Don Baker's group is leading the pack with lots and lots of reporting. We get some from Pontius's group and Jeff's. We only got 2 from Curtis's group again. God, kick your guys in the butt, Curtis, and get them to report some stuff. What's the intent of us doing those reports, by the way, guys?
Make your word around.
So I have stuff to look at? Is that what it is? Maybe. No, it's about becoming more aware on the job site. Consistent things that we see on the job site that are causing problems. One of Curtis's guys reached out to me and said, the job site I'm working on is absolutely horrific. I came out and walked the job site with him. We were able to go to the general contractor and get a bunch of things fixed. I'm not going to take the credit for it because I came out and just actually acted as conduit. But it worked out well. Now the job site overall for everybody is much safer than it was. It's not perfect, but it's certainly an improvement. So, Don, oh, there's Don. We had an incident on a job site, and I think in the past, you know, when we've had somebody come in who's directly involved with those things, speak directly to all of you, because it's an important thing for us to have a reasonable discussion about things that happen on job sites that we all know aren't right, but things happen. So Don's going to come in and share with you, and I think the important part of this is not that we're just trying to throw Don in front of the fire and the flames, is that each individually, as we go through, listen to what he had to say and what happened out on that site so we can actually make improvements individually so that we don't allow something like this to happen on our job sites as well. So, Mr. Rutherford.
You have that picture? Did you get that picture?
I did. I did.
We meet again, gentlemen.
And ladies.
Oh, lady, sorry. You don't have it.
Here.
We had an incident. I'm Don Rutherford, by the way. We had an incident out there at Marymore, the job that I'm currently running. We were putting material into a building. It was load centers, 5-story building, using a forklift to put it up. They have, on one side of the building, they have the sliding glass doors out with wood handrails nailed up over the openings for us to place our material on because there's no other way to get anything up on those upper floors. They have a 10,000-pound forklift on site that'll reach the 5th floor. So this scenario begins with, we called the general contractor. We're supposed to give them 48 hours notice when any deliveries are coming in. So Dan sent them a text or an email the morning before, or the day before, saying we were going to have a delivery at 9 o'clock. They sent back and said, no, there's another delivery at 9 o'clock as well. Our delivery showed up. We had them come out anyway. I'm just going to unload them and wait. So we got the truck unloaded, and at that point, the delivery had not showed up yet. So we still had the use of the forklift, so we started putting the material up in the building. We put some material on 2 and 3. We'd already put we started up at 5. We got the material up on 5, started to put it on 4 and 3. 3, we needed to put 2 loads on 3, so we had the handrails down. The first mistake we made was when the guys up on the floor took the handrails down, I didn't think about it. They weren't tied off. So that was mistake number 1. As we were progressing, I had the forklift. I was running the forklift. The 2 guys were up on the floor. I had the forklift up, and we were putting the box on 4 when the general contractor superintendent walked up and started there's no handrails up. Well, we hadn't put the handrails back up on 3 because we had another box that was going to go up there. Okay, here we go. So you can see I'm on 4 there now. We'd already done 5, put that back up. 3, we had another box sitting right here that was going to go up on 3. My guy was actually standing in that room, but back out of sight, as you can see. So we hadn't put the handrails up for the placement of the second box. Well, the general came out and took that picture. After he took that picture, he emailed me and said it was a safety incident and I needed to fill out a report. So with that being done, I did that and I called Mike right away. The whole deal of this was, we were told there was a delivery coming in. I was trying to hurry and get it done. It's raining this day. There were load centers. We didn't want them out in the rain, so I was trying to get them in the building. Mistake number 1 was we were hurrying. We should have never been hurrying. Mistake number 2 was I didn't think to stop and do the pre-task plan before we started unloading the truck. My mistake number 2. Number 3, we had the handrails down with nobody tied off. Mistake number 3. So you can imagine what has happened since. So this is where we're at now. That's the short of the story, but I guess the moral of this story is there's no task so important that you need to hurry. I should have waited. I should have just parked it. We should have thought about the pre-task plan, went through that. We might have not had this issue had we done that. So my mistake for not doing a pre-task plan. So, any questions? Ryan?
Is that lower floor there, is that subject to foot traffic, that opening right in front of your forklift?
Yes.
Is it taped off in any way?
No. But you're talking like an 18-inch.
No, what I'm getting at is, I damn near got killed on a job site one time when I walked out the door of a building and a concrete block landed about 3 feet behind me when I walked out the door, because there was nothing in the barricade was doing it.
Right, right. Again, hurry. It wasn't worth the hurry. That's where all this mistake came from. We were hurrying. My mistake. I'm not blaming anybody else. This is all on me. So that's me. The guys are up there. So I don't know what to say other than don't hurry and try to think of everything. I didn't even think about the pre-task that morning as far as the truck. We did our pre-task. It was hanging in the trailer. I didn't even think about putting the truck on there. And then because we supposedly had another order coming in behind us, I'm hurrying to get done with the forklift. It turns out, after I'm all said and done, I walked over to the other foreman that needed the forklift, and I said, well, where's your truck? Well, he came in yesterday, he's not coming today. Well, that would have been nice information to have gotten from the general so that we weren't hurrying. Maybe this could have been avoided.
So you said your guys are up there not tied off, not wearing harnesses or anything? Do they not know the EC policy for that kind of stuff?
They're new to EC, so I'm not sure if they do or they don't.
They would have gone through the safety training, right?
I'm sure they did. They did mention to me that they thought, or after the fact, after this was all said and done, I called them both into the trailer, told them I was sorry I put them at risk. This is my fault, but had we stopped and talked about it, then maybe somebody other than me would have thought about this and then brought this up. And they said, yeah, we should have thought about that as well. So they did own up to some of it a little bit, but again, I'm not going to put any blame on anybody else. This was on me. I should have known. So that's, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I made a big mistake on this one.
Thankfully, nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt, not even close. No material was dropped. To Ryan's point, you're right, I should have had this taped off, but nobody walked out. Nobody walked under us. But again, it goes back to hurrying. Don't hurry, it's not worth it. Not worth it. There's nothing that important that, I mean, them load centers could have got soaked and nobody would have got in trouble. So, again, it's just not worth it.
Steve? Don? On your job, do you handle the pre-task responsibility pretty much by yourself?
I do. I usually am there real early because of, I just get there real early and I sit and I have all that done when they show up. I'm not gonna do that anymore.
So you're gonna start inviting everyone to participate?
Well, I try to have it done so that we can get the pre-task taken care of and get everybody to
I'm the
work.
same way. I try and have that rough outline completed,
It isn't worth it.
and then I try and get, please, you know, I pretty much beg my crews, help me out. I need your help.
I do too. After we read what I have put down, I ask them, is there anything else you wanna add? I ask them it every morning. This
How
did,
often do you add something during the day?
generally not too often because I try to cover everything that morning. I put tasks on there that I think we're gonna get to.
Right.
So that they're covered if we do get to them. For this deal, I didn't even think about the truck coming.
I found that really enlightening when I was encouraged to continually add something to my pre-task plan. You know, at least once a week, get the red pin out, and the crew's pretty good about determining something different.
This particular day, I had already printed it out because I do it on a computer because my handwriting's atrocious. So I do it so you can read it. But this particular day, we were going to have them build some spinners for Romex. And so one of my guys did write that on there.
Good.
So we did have an addition that day. But generally, no, because like I said, I try to think of every task that I think we might get to, and then I try to put them all on there. So there's several days I'll have tasks on there that we don't even get to. But because I put it on there, if we had gotten to it, we'd already talked about it. I mean, I like to think in grandeur that we're gonna get a whole bunch more done than what we actually do. But it's easier to cover it that first thing in the morning than try to add it during the day. And this is why, because I didn't even think about it. Maybe if we'd have talked about it that morning, that's where I'm going back to saying that I'm not gonna do this without the crew anymore so that everybody can put input in it. And I did that this morning on our pre-test this morning. We almost filled it all the way up. So, and believe it or not, today I had a load of load centers in my truck and it got on the pre-test today. So, no, to what you're saying, I believe that that's a big deal, that you need to have the crew involved in your pre-task plan so that everybody's input can get put in, and maybe this could have been avoided because somebody might have thought, well, you know. But the other thing here now, this is why, and this building is all wood structure. There's nothing in there that what I would call structurally sound for a tie-off point. We all know that 5,000 pounds is a lot of weight when it comes crashing down on it. I didn't see anything in that building, because I went and looked at all this after the fact, but I didn't see anything in that building that I would have felt comfortable having anybody tied off to. I've seen too many safety demonstrations of lanyards and the 220-pound bag. There's probably several of us in here that have. 5,000 pounds, pulling wood walls right out of that building.
Hey, Gunny, I appreciate that point, and I really appreciate you standing there owning that and taking responsibility for that. But everyone in the room needs to know he's not the only guy on that site. There's a full-time PM on that job site that signed the pre-task plan that same morning. There's 2 guys on that crew that were standing at the leading edge that either didn't recognize that as a safety hazard or didn't feel empowered to correct that. And there's a material handler down there to load the truck. Maybe he left right with it, I don't know. I'm not sure where that truck
He wasn't there. He wasn't there.
But I think the problem is, it isn't the fact there wasn't a place to tie off in the building. It's the fact we didn't even recognize that we needed to do that until the superintendent for the general contractor brought it to our attention. We could have figured something out.
My
We didn't even
mistake.
think
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and like I said, it's not all on you. Right?
But-
There's a whole crew there.
So the yo-yo, they don't have a yo-yo set up at these loading points already?
No, and I was asked the
Nobody's
question,
been doing it.
I was asked the question, who put the handrails up? Well, the general did. So you can imagine. I can't say because I didn't see them, but there's nothing in there that would be a tie-off point. Mike's getting me tie-off points. We will not open those windows up again without all that stuff there. That doesn't take away the mistake here.
I did a stint with Burlington Northern Railroad, so I got the nickname Joey Railroad, but that's another story. One of the things we used to do is we do pre-task plans in the morning, which are super good, right? You forecast everything you're gonna do for the day. But then we introduced the term having a briefing for anything that happened throughout the day, right? So all of a sudden you get into a position where you're gonna do a critical pick like this, right? You have a quick briefing. So we didn't always go back to the pre-task plan and pencil a bunch of stuff out, but we gather everybody together and everybody take a quick look as a team. Okay, what do we have going on? What do we need to do here? Like in the moment, you know? That's a really good thing to do too, to kind of, maybe if you kind of differentiate that from the initial pre-task plan you do in the day, it's a way that you circle up when something changes or you have to make some kind of shift in the day. I really like that term, just having a quick briefing, getting everybody together and making sure they're on the same page right before you execute that.
But there again, it goes back to, 1, we were told there was a lumber delivery coming. 2, I was trying to be done before that delivery showed up. 3, we were hurrying. So you put all that together, you're not thinking like you're supposed to. Don't hurry is what I'm saying. We should have waited till 10 o'clock. The lumber truck didn't show. I find out then he's not showing, we wouldn't have been hurrying. Maybe then, but it would have clicked that, oh, you need to get this on the pre-test plan. As soon as he came through the gate, I should have had it done.
Make sure the young guys and the crews are willing to step up and say, hey, maybe we gotta rethink this.
I've had that conversation twice now with those guys, those 2 guys that were
Well,
involved.
it's not just those 2, it's everybody in the company. Anybody that's coming in that's fresh, need to make sure that they understand that they, you know, it's their lives. It's our lives.
Right.
There's a lot with this that bothers me, but you know, we've been talking about that pre-tech app in this meeting for the last 2 or 3 months. And it's all about recognizing hazards on your job site. And there's a whole crew, some of them standing right at the leading edge that didn't even recognize the hazard. That's partially why we have that app. That's why we're training everybody to use that app. So you kind of get groomed or focused to create a culture of recognizing all hazards, whatever the hazard is, right? But we failed to even recognize a hazard there. It's mind-boggling that we didn't recognize that.
Other trades using that access to mobilize material on site. So who's to say if we come up with a solution for us that another trade is not gonna do the same exact thing that you did?
I'm not gonna worry about the other trades because my butt isn't on the line for the other trades. I'm gonna worry about our trade and my guys, but I can't, I can't control the other guys.
I think the general needs to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
To solve the safety issue.
Yeah,
That's
no
not-
problem.
So Don, given that, that might be the most troubling to me right there. Given that, does that mean that your crews never exit out the first floor of the building?
Oh, no, we exit out the first floor.
So somebody else doing the same thing you did, lifting something to the fifth floor, and you people are walking underneath. Aren't they in jeopardy?
You're loading all day, right?
No,
Part of the day.
no, it's not very often that anybody's putting stuff in there, just on occasion, but it's gonna get more and more.
They're about to rock, right?
Well,
So
we're
the rock
just,
starts coming in.
we're just barely getting the building dried out, but yes, you're right. The loading is gonna get more and more and more on a daily basis, yes.
That's not the only entrance on the first floor, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
But if you're walking out of the building, unless it's marked in some way that there's danger overhead,
Should be barricaded
absolutely, every time there's a lift, it's
Yes.
going on.
every time.
Yes.
And, to that, my only point being is I do appreciate you standing up and sharing this, and so we can all learn from it. But I don't think we can ever have the attitudes that as long as it's not affecting my crew and whatever the other people on the job are going to do, I don't care. I think everything that's happening on the job may change our behavior. Our behavior may be pre-task plan. Nobody on our crew goes in and out of that entrance.
Well, let me rephrase that then, Roy. I didn't mean to say I don't care. As soon as I went and looked at this, I went and got our site-specific safety plan out to see how it is written as to who's supposed to supply tie-off points, whether it was on us, on the general. It wasn't specific. So I'm just, I've taken the stand that we'll supply our stuff when we're up there doing our work. I would think that, I'll mention it to the general tomorrow, that who's responsible for tie-offs on these openings?
Sand barricade.
Tie-offs, well, I think to Roy's point on barricading, should be the person doing, or the trade doing the loading on the floor. Because can you put that picture back up there?
John, I think it's reasonable to expect the general contractor to establish some type of protocol for loading that building and instead of putting those measures in place. In lieu of them doing that, that doesn't excuse us from still having to protect our employees if we put ourselves in that position. We still have to keep ourselves out of harm's way regardless of what the general contractor chooses to do.
Right. So this is the northernmost part of Building A. This is just one way in. There's a couple more over here, but on this side of the building, there's another exit out. So when this action's going on, this can be barricaded off where nobody can come out on all floors. So what you're saying, Roy, yes, that's another mistake I made. There's no barricade there, here, or inside on any of the floors. But you're right, that can be done so that nobody can walk in, walk out, and be put in the position to have something dropped on them.
Hey, Don, is there, GC, everybody get together, like weekly huddles kind of thing with the general contractor? This is like a common take point type area, multiple trades are putting material in and out at random times of deliveries, that kind of thing. I think there's a point here that's something that could be discussed with GC, so that every job site has those pinpoints established and protocols announced on the project. A lot of projects have various training pinpoints and industry points, exit points, and
we usually talk about morning huddles daily, is this X is closed, big points are happening, kind of thing. If that hasn't happened with this project, I'd say that if you could pop it, you could sell the GC there.
I should have, and that should have been a good one for yesterday's.
Sorry, the GC should put up yo-yos there because somebody would have to go up every time a trade changes to do it. Somebody would have to go up on a ladder near that leading edge to put one up.
That's
So
usually
it should always just be there for everybody to use.
That's a fairly common thing that happens, but unless it's talked about or discussed, it's not gonna happen on itself.
All right, so we could go into really big depth on this project and on this particular situation. We just wanted to bring it forward with you. Dom was willing to come up and talk about that. Moving forward, if you have any issues like this as far as leading edges, right? Our safety team is always available. Talk to your project managers. Project executives will tell you exactly what's in the contracts, right? So now we're gonna move forward. Joe's got a presentation. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, John.
All right, I'll make this short and sweet. Got some great documentation for you guys to hand out. There's a lot of people here this week, so just take one and pass it down. I don't know if I have enough for everybody, so share with your neighbor. So we had a situation come up in Portland. Can't speak specifically to all of the details, but we ended up losing a ladder off of a company vehicle. Which is no bueno. Off of a ladder rack. Guy had a loose bolt, and ladder rack ended up failing and dumped the ladder off onto the road. We got lucky in this one. Nothing crazy happened, right? We could have shot a ladder through a window or ran some mom and her kids off the road in their minivan, or who knows, right? So safety committee got together and we were talking about this one. It was kind of a hot button issue. We decided we needed to put some policy in place, try to make sure this doesn't happen again in the future. So what you're looking at here is the new policy we're going to implement starting right now. So you've got a vehicle inspection log here, cover sheet. This piece is going to be required. When you turn this in, you have to have the cover sheet on here, okay? We've got to have the cover sheet on there. You flip to page 2, you've got a calendar here for you, right? So you can track this weekly vehicle inspection that you're going to do, okay? You've got a note in the bottom corner here that says for each inspection, you need to circle the date for each week that the inspection is completed, okay? You need to use red ink for an AM inspection and blue ink for a PM inspection. Okay, is that clear? Okay, this third page here has the actual vehicle inspection checklist. All right, we got lights, turn signal, horn, mirror, ladder rack, overall appearance of the vehicle, windshield, windows, windshield wipers, tires, bumpers, check oil level, driver area space, storage area space, tool space, material space, road hazard safety kit, first aid kit, and fire extinguisher. Okay, you need to fill this out, dated, driver's license. You need to put in what the license plate number is of your vehicle. Once you have it inspected, you need to have your PM sign off on it, okay? And then the last thing I need to revise this, the last thing I need you to do is take a selfie of yourself in front of the license plate to turn this in. Does anybody want to do that?
No.
Anybody want to do that once a week? Yes.
Are you talking about the selfie thing?
So if I start my inspection in the AM, but I finish it in the PM, do I need to change the ink?
Just half, yeah, purple or half circle. Purple. I'm hoping that some of you guys caught that was some sarcasm, okay? No, I don't want anybody to have to do that. Just getting a little carried away there. I don't think we need that. However, on the last page of that little handout I gave you is what is expected, vehicle maintenance and usage guidelines. You know what's cool is this thing doesn't require any specific colors of ink. It doesn't require any selfies, although Mike, if you want to, you can. You can send it directly to me, that's fine. Pretty simple stuff, guys, right? Must be serviced. Follow the manufacturer's guidelines, right? That's pretty easy. Don't use your fuel card to fill up the minivan on the weekend. It's pretty easy, right? You're the only person that's supposed to drive the vehicle. Don't drag your fishing boat around on the weekend. Try to maintain the vehicle's appearance, right, inside and out. You know, it's a driving billboard, right? It's what advertises for us throughout the major Seattle area. So try to keep the thing clean, inside and out. Try to operate it safely, right? The reality is, man, is the company provides you this vehicle for you to do your job. It's a pretty nice little deal to have a rig and a gas card that's taken care of for you. It comes with it, right? And all that we're asking is that you be responsible. So what does that look like in the real world? When you set the gas pump to put gas in the thing, man, you walk around, you kick the tires, make sure they look all right, replace your windshield wipers if they're acting a little funny, maybe pop the hood and check the oil, you know? Pretty basic stuff. So who votes for the current vehicle maintenance and uses guideline, and who wants to make sure they put a cover on their TPS report? Anybody have any questions about vehicle maintenance?
Yes. In our ARI packets, they have oil change things in the back every 5,000. Is it not EC policy every 3,000? Because that was said in one of these IFP meetings. EC wants it done every 3,000. Which is it?
This says vehicles must be serviced following manufactured guidelines. So I would say whatever, you know, it's probably gonna be kind of specific to the vehicle if you drive a truck or a van, or I don't know, my little Subaru Outback says you change the oil every like 10,000 miles, you know, so it's like the manufacturer guidelines. What's that?
So get us some of those.
I know, hey.
It's pretty in the bait pin.
I do mine every 3,000 because that's what I heard in here.
Yeah.
That's what they told us in here a while back.
Yep, so like I said, I can speak to this fleet vehicle safety policy that says manufacturer's guidelines. ARI, which I know is fairly new to EC, is pretty good about that stuff. Yeah, in the back.
We get any coupons to get in detail?
You're gonna have to take that with your baby. Yeah,
No, because I tried to go to Jiffy Lube the other day and they refused to do it because it wasn't at 5,000 miles yet.
like 5,000 miles.
I made them change it though, because I told them our policy was 3,000 and they did it. They can adjust it.
Yeah.
I told them that our company policy is 3,000, and they said, you two people said, well, we can't do anything about it.
So I guess to be totally honest, I'm not an expert on that topic. Who would that go to? They go to Chris York? Yeah, so Chris York would be the guy, or just take it to your project manager if you're having an issue, and they can definitely help you out.
And you can tell them.
Don't call me Jesse, I'm
ARI for approval.
They did,
And ARI wouldn't approve it.
they refused it.
So I think from what I know of ARI, because I did, oh, go ahead, Ryan.
So just to clarify for
Here we go.
everyone, Chris York is in charge of our fleet overall, but the extension of Chris York up here is Kenny in the warehouse. And if you're having any issues with any of the service locations or anything, feel free to call Kenny, and if you can't get a hold of Kenny, call me and I'll get it taken care of. But realistically, the ARI policy that came in place not too long ago, the old policy was at EC 3,000 miles. I believe stemmed back from 1956, before synthetic oils were in place and some of those things. But the ARI policies, everyone's cars are set for every 5,000 miles. And as long as we're maintaining per vac, we should be fine. If you are having problems, because I can tell you that there's 5 different EC company iterations of name within Jiffy Lube. And it is even possible that they're looking at a different EC company if they're rejecting you, because we have EC Power Systems, we have EC contracting, we've got a bunch of them. If it's during normal hours, feel free to give Kenny or myself a call. We'll try to make sure we get you taken care of.
I haven't had any problem. They do it every 3,000. Don't even question it.
All right, well, if you guys have any future questions, let's take them to Kenny or PM. Thanks for humoring me. Okay.
I will tell you one thing, trying to get anything out of ARI is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Windshield wipers. I know, I spent an hour the other day trying to get new windshield wipers.
Yeah.
You just like the selfies.
What's even harder to get your phone.
Okay, so this month's IFB meeting topic was supervisors' safety responsibility. What does that mean? Anybody? Several things, right? It's like a friggin' umbrella. It's just an all-encompassing term. So we are all people in this office, in this room, is all part of our supervisors' leadership team, from foreman all the way up to vice president. So our vision statement is EC Companies, your trusted partner of choice, providing comprehensive electrical and power solutions through superior parts, people, and expertise, right? They're trusting us to build a simple electrical system, to do it safely and responsibly. So, safety leader, right? We are all safety leaders. It's defined as a person who has the courage to demonstrate what he or she values safely by working and communicating with team members to identify the limit hazards, situations, even in the persistence of other job pressures, such as scheduling and costs. We talked earlier with Dawn saying, you know, had a lumber truck coming, I gotta get it done, I gotta get this done. Overlooked part of the planning and executing part. He went right to the executing as opposed to the planning and evaluating, right? That goes right into the scheduling, cost, job pressures. 5 leadership skills. We all need to lead by example. We encourage and empower team members, right? We have a talk with them. Hey, if I'm doing something wrong, I need you to call me out. If you see something I'm not seeing, speak up, right? We need to have that conversation with them. We need to actively listen and practice 3-way communication. It means I'm telling you something, you're telling me back, and I'm communicating back, right? We need to have that back and forth. So that way that I know what I'm telling you is exactly how you're perceiving it, and vice versa. Okay? Develop team members through teaching, coaching, and feedback. We're not developing the people, and we're not training them. We're never going to succeed in this company if we're not continuously developing and training our peers. Recognizes team members for a job well done. Who loves doing something, rocking at it, and then getting a cool? All right? Hey, dude, you did an awesome job on that. Pontius, that Chambers Creek job, awesome, right? 5 years. What did we say? That was 30% of your career on one job site. That's huge, right? So who are we? Who's a safety leader? Who's a safety leader? Everyone. Right? Foreman, experienced workers, trainees and apprentices, superintendents, the owners, anyone and everybody. Right? We are all safety leaders. I don't care if you've been on the job for 3 days or if you've been on the job for 40 years. Right? We all have input. We all have some type of input to put on the pre-task plan throughout the day. Hey, there's some nails sticking out. We need to handle that. Let's stop. Handle that. Okay? What's the benefits of being an effective leadership team? Increased morale. Who loves to work on a nasty, unsafe job? Nobody. We want to be able to go to a job site, have fun, enjoy each other's time, and be safe. Right? We get increased teamwork. We're safe. Teamwork's going. We have a positive safety climate. Reduced hazards, safer work practices, fewer injuries and fatalities. Better business reputation, more production, and better quality. What else? What else is missing off this list? It's really quiet today.
Team satisfaction.
Team satisfaction.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Broken bones.
No broken bones.
Proper training of the people that's coming up.
That's right. Mentorship. right? The more we can teach, the better this and safer the environment becomes. So, not to pick on you, Don, but because you explained that situation you had. Now, by going to the general, going, hey, yeah, I was in the wrong. Now we need to fix it, right? Now, who's doing the pick points? Who's doing the yo-yos, right? Great, perfect. Now everybody has that safe attitude, not just the electricians. So now it's the electricians, the carpenters, the plumbers. They all got to get parts and pieces up in those floors.
Getting more interaction out of your guys on the job site.
Exactly. A team, right? We're not looking at it as the electrical team. We're looking at it as the building team, right? When we do those huddles with the general, it's not just we only have to do our stuff. Let's not worry about them. The plumbers are saying they're going to be doing a pick over there. Hey, let's not go in that area. Great, they told us that. We know that's going to be barricaded, and if it's not, I'm going to stop them and go, dude, this isn't safe. You need to barricade this, right? So how do we do this? Lead by example. Have a positive attitude. Safety is not your enemy, right? Been doing this for 20 years. Safety was an enemy when I first started. Ooh, safety professionals coming by, man, we got to clean up our site. That's not the case anymore. When Mike LaChance came out to our jobs, right? He wasn't out there to crack a whip. He was like, hey, I want you to be safe. Hey, let's take a look at this. What do you see? Am I seeing this wrong? Maybe I'm standing at the wrong angle. Let's start training, right? We're establishing safety as a core value, right? A couple months ago, we saw the micro thing where it's not safety first. It's more like safety third, right? You have production. You don't have a job. You don't have production. You don't have to worry about safety. So let's establish it as a core value. I want all you guys to go, hey, we got to get a job done. This is how we're going to do it. How am I going to implement safety in this? Right? It's just always in the back of your head going, hey, I got this leading edge, got some panels coming up. Huh? Yeah, I can't do that. I need to put up a yo-yo first. Set high expectations. Share safety vision with the team. Right? You're mentoring. Right? You're telling it. You're training. We've all been doing this for a long time. Maybe the first or third year hasn't been told. You know, walk the talk. We say we're going to put on a hot suit to do hot work. Don't open up the panel cover without your hot gear. Right? Reinforce the idea that everybody owns safety. Lead up. Okay? How do we engage and empower team members? Right? Why didn't the two guys say anything? Right? That happens all the way across the board. Why doesn't the first year think he has the ability to open up his mouth and go, no, I'm not doing it, right? Then that starts the three-way conversation of, no, this is safe and this is why. This is what we're going to do, right? We're explaining that safety is critical in getting the job done, engaging the team members in safety decision-making. That's what we do with the pre-task plan, right? Just like what Don had shared earlier, that he's not doing the pre-task plan first thing in the morning and having the guys sign off on it, quickly hitting the bullet points. He's having them actually fill it out themselves. Hey, what else are we doing today? Perfect, what are the hazards? Right? We're doing that as a team effort, not just as an individual. Conduct daily morning safety huddles and joint worker management walkarounds throughout the workday. Right? As the guys go through the building to go up to the 4th floor to work on the day for the day, they're visually watching. They're visibly looking. Hey, on my way up there, whoo, this handrail up the stairwell, it's pretty loose. It's deflecting more than 12 inches, right? Yeah, it probably needs addressed. Let's go have a talk. Right? Empower team members to safely report safety concerns, injuries, and near misses. Right? Pre-tech. It can't get any easier than pre-tech. Oh, got a scratch. Or, that handrail, let's take a picture of it. Boom, click, now let's go talk to the general, right? Takes 2 seconds. And that's the end of it. So, there's one more. Kenny. Okay. So, what did I miss? Out of all of that, what did I miss as far as safety responsibilities that we all have in this office, in this room? What did I miss? Rich.
Going home to our families healthy.
You are the master of your own safety. Right? We've been preaching that for, what, 2-3 months now? You're the master of your own safety. Who's actually spread that and told their apprentices that same line?
Put your hand up, Dan.
Okay. Here, I want you guys to come back next month saying, I had a talk with my apprentice. I had a talk with my crew team, my crew members during our precast plan, our stretch and flex, of telling them they have the right to go, you're wrong. We need to be tied off. We need to have this delineated. We need to take a step back and evaluate what we're doing first. Or, this doesn't feel right, right? We all get that feeling, something's not quite right. I want you all to tell your crew that they have every right to come up to you and go, something's not right. That what you're having me do, I don't feel comfortable with it. And have that free conversation. Because without that free conversation, someone's going to get hurt. It's going to be on your crew. You don't want to go home knowing that you put that person at risk and that they got a scratch. Luckily, it's only a scratch. That they didn't hit something and fall down an elevator shaft. Right? You don't want that on your conscience. You want them to be able to go, hey, I walked by that elevator shaft, there's no handrail. Or that handrail's really loose, I don't think, if I bumped it, it's gonna fall over. Just so you know. Or I don't feel comfortable with that task. Here's why. And that allows you a conversation back and forth to go, no, I thought this through, this is how we're gonna mitigate that. Or, you know what, you're right, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Let's not do that task today until I talk to the general and we clear that area out. All right. We talked about being effective out in the field, right? We don't want to go out to a job site or to a section of the building that's just covered in debris and dirt and garbage. That we want to talk to our project managers, get them involved and going, hey, section B of that building is a disaster. I don't want to send my crew in there because I'm not going to be effective. It's going to be a safety hazard, right? Get the project managers involved. Any questions, comments?
Comment.
Alonzo?
You know, I think it's like third month we're talking about the master of my safety. I don't think we've showed these guys what we're talking about. I still think we showed them that slide that we've all seen as PMs. Could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing it. Here.
Which one was that one?
The one that we got at our quarterly meeting.
That one right there.
Right there.
That one, yeah.
This was actually going to be incorporated with Joe, but we ran out of time. Well, this was brought up in a quarterly meeting with Andrew Bauer, and this is one of his slides. And it's basically what's missing out of our safety culture. And this explains what our safety culture, and at the bottom it says, I am the master of my safety. I can't protect you unless you own up to your safety. Right? You can't be safe unless you want to be safe. I can't protect that. So you have to own it. And you have to make sure that your guys on your site own it. And if it comes to a point where a guy on your team is continuously not being safe, you need to jump it up, right? Hey, I've talked to you about this multiple times. You're not being safe. I've told you this multiple times. I need you to go talk to the project manager and tell him why you're not being safe. Right? It's liability. It's huge. Right? Always take it up. You have a question?
No, comment.
Comment.
From what you were saying earlier, one of the things I did with my guy one day is we sat down instead of doing a toolbox talk. What I wanted to ask him is, because I've worked with him now for about 1.5 years, have I ever made you work in a way that was unsafe? Or that you felt threatened while you were working?
Yeah.
And I'd encourage the guys in here with your crew to ask him that. You'd be surprised at some of the responses they might have.
What was his answer?
He didn't feel as though he'd been in an unsafe position. The other thing I told them when we first paired up was, I will do the best I can to keep you safe, but you're ultimately the one that's responsible for your safety. Don't expect me to keep you safe. Don't expect the job to keep you safe. If you want to go home at night and be safe, then that's on you. And so we started our work relationship in that way, but I know that there's no way that everyone in this room works safe 100% of the time. Don's story is clear enough that we all will overlook or miss something or not think about something. And it's interesting the things that we forget that maybe impact the guys on our crew and around us and how they feel about that. And I never want the guy I work with not going home, and I never want him feeling like he has to work in an unsafe way that jeopardizes him. So it was a good conversation to have.
Anybody else had that same conversation with people in their crew?
In a roundabout way, we did after the incident, yes.
Yeah, I think that would be an important question to ask. All the people who work underneath you, have I ever put you in harm's way? Intentionally, unintentionally, you tell them. Mike?
Real simple question when you're watching through the job site, especially after we had how to use tools. What's wrong with this picture? Because I've used that in the shop, especially with the young ones coming through before they're going out as apprentices. And it's like, nothing wrong. I said, no, what's wrong with this picture? What are you doing? And I mean, it's like clueless. And make them think for a minute. Take your time. Take it back to doing it wrong one more time. What's wrong with this picture? What is the company policy? What are you talking about? Use it as a teaching thing because kids don't use the gloves they're supposed to. I mean, some real basic simple things. We walk by, we have tunnel vision. If we don't stop and ask those questions, it's never going to be ingrained. Just real simple. But we have to be observant too. All right, anybody else? Comments, suggestions? Warren? You're up.
Oh, I'm up.
Hey, how about a personal challenge for all you guys out there that are foremen? My personal challenge to you guys is have that same conversation that Mike just described with the folks that work underneath you and do that as a gut check to see how you are performing with those guys. Use that as a gut check to see what and how these people view your perception of safety and what you're doing to provide them with the opportunity to succeed. Just a personal challenge.
Thank you, Mike.
So this is Warren Jackson, everybody. This is our new safety director out of Portland. He made the trek up here to introduce himself.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I want to start off by first recognizing somebody for their efforts and their accomplishments up here over the past several years. And if you don't know already, Mike is leaving us. This Friday will be his last day. So I would like to personally thank Mike for his accomplishments and everything he's done for you up here over the past several years. It's going to be sad that I don't have the privilege to work with you, but I think it's important that everyone here is aware of how much good you've done for this area. So if you would indulge me in a Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
A very emotional time for me. Believe me, it was not the easiest decision I've ever made. Looking at all these faces and all these people that I've gotten to know over the years, and to see what kind of a safety journey you've all made, it actually is very impressive. The strides that you guys all have individually made is very important to me that you guys continue down that path, please, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. So for those of you, many of you who don't know who I am, I'm Warren Jackson. This is your cue to say hi, Warren. Hi. For the last 10 years prior to coming to EC, I worked with the IBEW at the national level. I was one of the founding advisors on OSHA's Task Team 2 with the Electrical Power Transmission Distribution Partnership, NECA, the IBEW, and the 7 founding companies. Great opportunity. I've learned a lot about the industry, both at the national level and at many of the local levels. One thing that I've always found interesting is the level of support that, whether you're a wireman or a groundman or a material handler or a lineman, regardless of your title, those 4 letters travel with us. And the one constant thing I've always stumbled with is the rapid pace at which our experienced brothers are checking out. The men and women who have been doing this for 25, 35, in some cases 40 years, have decided that, it's time for me to enjoy my grandchildren, my children, my boat, my cabin, whatever it is. And I think we've lost track as a trade of the importance of our apprentices. How many of you have 25 years or more in the trade? Okay. How many of you have 10 or more years in the trade? How many of you have 3 or less years in the trade? Couple. There's a lot of valuable experience in this room. If we went down the line, there's probably 1,000 years of experience in this room. Collectively. Okay. If our apprentices are asking questions, let's not shut them down. Let's make sure we're taking the time to coach and mentor them, to make sure that they're there to carry on the legacy of the IBEW and the trade in general. A quick question for those of us, or those of you, rather, I still have a couple of years left. We're thinking about retiring in the next, let's say, 8 to 10 years or so. Who do you think's funding that pension? That annuity? Who's funding that?
Apprentices.
Yeah. So it's incumbent on us to protect our investments in our future by educating them, by training them, and supporting them, right? This means I agree, this means no, you stay. So think about that as we progress through these changes, as we continue to develop these curriculums, these programs. One of the things I want to touch on briefly with Mike departing is many of you are used to just reaching right out to Mike when a situation happens, whether there's an incident or, hey, I've got a question on what I really need to do in this panel, I'm gonna call Mike, right? I want to continue that momentum. So there's a card that Mike's put together that's got some phone numbers on it. Jolene, our new assistant EHS director, is up here with me. And then if you can't get a hold of her, feel free to call me. Or if you can't get me, just go down that list until you get someone. We're here to support you. And I know that's been somewhat of a misnomer in the past. It's like the IRS guy coming here. I'm from the government and I'm here to help you, right? I get that. But one of the things that I really want to drive home with this new chapter for the safety department is 3 founding principles. One is education. We want to make sure that we're providing the education, to the next generation. To those of you who've been doing this 20 years or so, that maybe there's changes in process, the compliance aspect of that, helping you understand the changes in the standard and how we need to keep in compliance, and then the support aspect of that, how we're going to support implementation of those processes. So an example I like to use is, I'm a union carpenter by trade, Local 57, St. Louis, Missouri. I've also been intimately involved with the granddad of them all, Local 1. Had the blessing to, I call it a blessing because it's great to see where this started from, to sign the beam in Henry Miller's house on Causeway Avenue. It's pretty cool. My heart is with the IBEW. I should have become a wireman, but I was drawn to butchering wood. My point being, we've got to look out for each other and support that. Flying conduit or flying steel. How many of us have used a short rope, throw a bowl in or a couple half hitches and flown it up to the 5th or 50th floor of a building? Completely safe, right? Been done for thousands of years. but it's out of compliance. We can't legally do that anymore because that rope doesn't have a rating tag on it. How many of you knew that? A couple of you, right? So it's a difference between safety and compliance. Doing that isn't unsafe. It's just a matter of, hey, to comply with the standards, we need to do X now. So moving forward, if you need questions or if there's an incident, reach out to Jolene, myself, or go down that list. Follow your chain of command. Reach out to your supervisor, your foreman, your general foreman, your project managers, your project executives. Roy, his phone's always on. But in short, I want to share something with you, and I hope this hits hard, and I hope you walk out of this room inspired to talk with your apprentices. Prior to coming to EC, the 2 months prior, I was in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands working on hurricane restoration. I had 500 linemen under my command. The day I landed on the island, and the day I got my rental car, I was escorted to the funeral home to attend the funeral of a lineman that was killed the week prior. I made contact with 13 kV cutout. Not the first IBEW funeral I've been to in my 10-year career. The thing that really hit home for me, ladies and gentlemen, is in a 5-hour period, both in the funeral home and in the parking lot, 5 hours, $36,000 was raised. Real handler, empower that project manager. Empowerment, the Y factor. I believe that if we start there with, you know what, I don't want to pass the head. I don't want you on that ladder. It's the right ladder. Right? I believe we can facilitate great change, not only for this local and for our industry, but across the nation. The IBEW stands for what? 46? International what?
Brotherhood.
Who's the BA of this local? You guys. International what?
Brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood. It's a family. So for Pete's sake, let's look out for each other, okay? That's really all I've got. I appreciate everything you guys do. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And if you've never made a call to a family telling them that their loved one isn't coming home or they need to go to the hospital, I hope you never have to. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, everyone have a card? Phone numbers on it? Program that sucker right in your phone right now for Jolene and Warren. Right? So you have a safety incident on your job site, right? Other than an ambulance driving up to your site, right? You get scratched or you got a sore shoulder or you sprain something, right? So now we don't have Mike. Mike's moving on to the next adventure. We're gonna ask you guys to take that up to your superior, right? Call your project manager, right? Now that doesn't mean that when the ambulance comes rolling up and they take somebody off, call your project manager, right? Definitely call your project manager, but first, call Warren, call Jolene, right? And we'll go into a little bit more detail on that next month. But for right now, moving forward, if you have any safety concerns or safety reports, you have the Pre-Tech app, right, for the minor stuff, and always let your project manager know, right? Got a sprain, call your project manager, right? A little scratch, get a little on-site first aid, call your project manager, and it'll be up to him whether he wants to escalate that, right? So we no longer have Mike be available. Now, if you call Mike's phone, it'll automatically go to Jolene. So if you don't have her number programmed that I'm telling you to do right now, it'll automatically go to Jolene, right? When you call Mike's cell phone number, Jolene's gonna pick it up and it's gonna take you a little bit by surprise. Okay.
Is Mike being,
Yes.
is this position being replaced and refilled?
Yes. Yes. Eventually, we will have a Kent Seattle safety as soon as we find somebody to be able to fill Mike's giant shoes.
Never happened to Mike.
So. All right. Any last comments, concerns, discussion? Alonso?
We got a box of safety shirts. Anybody wants some t-shirts?
Fantastic.
Make sure to sign.
Make sure to sign in if you didn't already.
One last thing, well, I know Warren said it, but I want to reiterate, Mike, I really appreciate everything you did. In the way, from my standpoint, bringing the message to this group, it's meant a lot, and I all wish you the best moving forward.
Thank you.
Good luck, Mike.